On Christmas Eve, pilot Mark was flying a fighter jet, ready to complete his mission and return home for a reunion. Shortly after takeoff, all the airport lights suddenly went out, but he didn't notice, focused only on climbing to an altitude of 10,000 meters. After an hour of flight, several flashes suddenly appeared, and the needles on the instrument panel began swinging wildly. Mark banged on the dashboard forcefully, but everything remained chaotic. He immediately consulted the operations manual, following procedures to check each system one by one, but the instruments still didn't return to normal. The situation was critical, so he called the control tower at once, but received no response. At 10,000 meters, he had completely lost his bearings, while the plane was flying over an endless expanse of ocean. There is not much fuel left. If he couldn't get help from the tower soon, once the fuel ran out, the consequences would be unthinkable. Just as Mark kept trying various maneuvers, thick fog suddenly closed in from all directions. If the plane continued flying like this, he would have no chance of survival. He had no choice but to reduce speed and altitude, descending in a spiral to conserve as much fuel as possible. 20 minutes later, he couldn't take it anymore. Just as he was about to give up, an old bomber suddenly appeared ahead, wagging its wings to greet him. After brief communication, the bomber pilot understood Mark's predicament. He signaled for Mark to follow him, and the two planes immediately changed course. Guided by the bomber, they soon arrived over an airfield. After Mark landed successfully, the bomber turned and flew away. As he stepped out of the cockpit, a military vehicle was waiting there, and staff said they would take him to the base cafeteria. The walls of the cafeteria were covered with the names and ages of dozens of people, and all of them were members of the same flight squadron. Suddenly, Mark was drawn to one photo. It was the very pilot who had just saved him. He urgently asked about the man's identity. The staff explained. His name was John, from the Italian Pathfinder Squadron. Every time he returned from a mission, he would fly alone over the North Sea searching for damaged aircraft, guiding them back to base. Because heavy fog often formed there, many malfunctioning planes lost their way. Mark exclaimed excitedly, "He saved me tonight." The staff member turned pale. "That's impossible." John crashed into the North Sea shortly after takeoff, on Christmas Eve in 1943, exactly 14 years ago today. This left Mark bewildered. Had he just hallucinated? At that moment, Mark heard the roar of the bomber's engines. He rushed out of the cafeteria and looked up, but saw nothing. As he turned around, a military vehicle was approaching. The personnel told him they had seen his plane suddenly vanish from radar, and never expected it to land at this long-abandoned base. Mark said someone had turned on the runway lights for him, and that staff had welcomed him. The soldier replied in shock, "This place has been deserted since World War II ended." Hearing this, Mark looked back. The luxurious cafeteria from earlier was now completely dilapidated.